carried on. Recently, I read a book titled The Nature of Managerial Work, which is about the role of manager and what exactly managers do in an organization. So this book is written by Henley Mintzberg. Henley Mintzberg is a Canadian academic and author on business and management, and he's a professor in the McGill University in Canada. And this book is one of his bestsellers that made him really famous in the world in the field of MBA. So this book is the one that tells us about managerial work based on the results obtained with analytical data that he got by observing companies managing activities. So his study on management is proceeded in line with realistic working operations in an actual working place. So he takes the stance to take objection against learning the role of manager systematically in accordance with imaginary case studies in graduate school. In that sense, his stance draws a line of that of general academics supporting theoretical logics of business management. So he sharply criticizes the necessity of MBA for managers leading a company. So I just want to introduce you some of his viewpoints about business management in an organization. So first one, how managers can strengthen the importance of the role in an organization depends on how they can raise the importance of the role of individual team members. And second one is like a good organization is not the command hierarchical pyramid, but is a network type organization that brings synergy, that enables members to influence each other in a good way. And a good manager doesn't stay in a certain position in a pyramid, but they always move around the network to voluntarily get involved with members' affairs. And third one is new management strategy comes from this network. So in the process that members with good motivation solve tiny little problems in front of them, large management strategy is naturally formed from there. So fourth, in management is interaction among human beings to understand each other. And a manager has to look down at what happens around them and focus on the issue of this happening and show what they're going to do in the situation and influence people. The fifth, leadership is a precious trust that people respected by others can get. So from this point of view, leadership is not something separate from management. And both of them are like two sides of the same coin. The trend that managers try to take leadership to control people remotely without knowing the condition of actual working place loses opportunity to raise interactivity that can bring synergy and innovation in the workplace. So leadership is a kind of like trust that arises spontaneously from people who want to support someone in the process of solving thousands of boring, repetitive, miscellaneous small problems. So what he wants to say is almost correct. But trust that arises spontaneously from people with pure feeling that wants to support to a certain person as a manager doesn't necessarily meet the intention of headquarters of a company that occupy the vested interest. So the environment where management in a network style organization that enables people to interact with each other can raise productivity of work and contribute to work efficiency. It needs to have a certain prerequisite that people working there have no prejudice and skepticism towards what companies does and what others do in a working place. So there are so many disturbing factors that prevent us from doing work smoothly as long as we belong to an organization. So we have to spend our great part of energy to fight with these unreasonable factors to protect ourselves, to survive in an organization, right? So abusive harassment and racism and unfair discrimination, unfair evaluation, and unfair salary and deceptive treatment. So we can't ignore these factors as long as we survive in an organization. So only the thing that proves individual quality and ability visually and objectively is a qualification or the academic background. So no one can have prejudice and skepticism towards these factors. You know what I mean? So qualifications and academic background can prove effective to protect workers from unreasonable external factors, external pressures in a workplace. So it's like people can't do something like, he seems to have a good ability and he seems to have a good one on his task, but he is Asian. So I think he has no aptitude for this position because he is Asian. So I don't let him assume this position or something. But if an Asian guy with a very good academic background, like an MBA holder, there is no room to discriminate his position by race, because an academic background is a grim truth that everyone must accept. So, as Henley Mintzberg said, that what is educated in an MBA course in a graduate school is a castle in the air that is not in line with what actually workplace requires manager to do, right? So authority and privilege in the form of qualification and academic background can become a role of purge to exclude unnecessary disturbing factors to clarify the position of manager. You know what I mean? The reason why an organization tends to promote a person with easy to understand qualifications like a BA as a manager is that it is not necessarily that there are only pure people who can accept an excellent manager with no prejudice and skepticism and the feeling of jealousy or something like that. So in such society, there's a certain rationality in the fact that a person with a good academic background and a good qualification assumes a managing position regardless of whether or not they show understanding and hand-on policy in the workplace, and they have a skill to encourage people to interact with each other in the workplace. So command hierarchical organization that consists of managers with easy to understand qualification and academic background has a certain reasonability and equality in the sense that people are not influenced with external unreasonable factors like racism, harassment, and bullying or something like that. So if we can realize a society that accepts what Henley Mintzberg says, what an organization should be advocated by Henley Mintzberg, a society and people need to be more mature than now.